Hey, welcome back. Show's called Your Money, Your Wealth. Joe Anderson, I'm a certified financial planner. Alan Clopine, he's a CPA. We're talking about your 401k plans or your workplace retirement accounts and what do you do with them once you retire. Let's see how you did on that true-false question.
When you withdraw from a Roth IRA, you won't owe any tax. Well, I would say that's generally true because you paid the tax when you converted or you used after-tax money when you do a contribution. You pull the money out, it's tax-free. But you do have to be aware of a few things, like, for example, when you do a conversion and you're under 59 and a half, you gotta wait 5 years. You always have to wait 5 years when it's any kind of account in terms of earnings and growth. So just be aware, it's not always tax-free, but you got to be able to follow the rules.
Let's talk about Roths, because I think Roths are a really good added weapon, I guess, to your overall retirement strategy. Conversions to a Roth, right? So we talked about your IRA or your 401k. Do you keep it in the plan, hold it, stop, just keep it there? That's fine. Or you could roll it into an IRA, or cash it out and pay all the tax, or convert. So you pay the taxes up front when you do a Roth conversion. Why would you want to do that? Is that if you believe tax rates are going to go up, it might make sense to pay some tax at a lower rate so all of those dollars will grow 100% tax-free. So you're taking the uncertainty of taxes off the table. Second, it's going to give you a little bit more flexibility in regards to your retirement income strategy. So if everything is piled up in your retirement account, every dollar that comes out of that plan, as I said before, is going to be taxed at ordinary income rates. If I have money that I can pull from a Roth, it's going to be tax-free. So I can start looking at diversifying my taxes in such a way. So conversions. Also tax-free to the heirs. So maybe my kids are very successful. I might be in a lower tax bracket than my children. I might want to convert as I age, and then if they inherit those dollars, they will never ever pay tax on them. So really good reasons to convert. Couple reasons not to is that you have to take a look at your tax bracket, right? You don't want to necessarily pay more tax than you otherwise would have, or you want to look at IRMA, you want to look at Medicare premiums, you want to look at credits potentially if you're on the Affordable Care Act. So there's some nuances to this as well.
Yeah, you don't do it blindly, right? And sometimes when you do a Roth conversion where your Social Security was tax-free, now all of a sudden it's taxable because you have more income. So there's some calculations you have to run. But we are encouraging virtually everyone watching this program that has a retirement account, at least consider a Roth. It makes a lot of sense in a lot of cases.
Here, look at it like this. So, right, we're approaching tax season. And so you want to figure out what tax bracket that you're in. So Roth conversion strategy, this is a real simple one, is that before your conversion, you look, all right, well, my income, that filled up the 10% tax bracket and then also filled up the 12% tax bracket. Oh, and I'm in the 22, but I still have this room in the 22% tax bracket. Well, it might make sense to fill up that 22% tax bracket with more income. And how would you do that? Well, you would do a Roth conversion. Take money from your existing retirement account, transfer those dollars into a Roth IRA. You will pay tax on those dollars, but you're going to pay it at that 22% rate. Then all of those dollars will grow 100% tax-free. Remember, the tax law is subject to change. So the 10% tax bracket is going to stay the same, but this 12% is going to turn to 15%. This 22% is going to turn to 25%. This 24 turns to 28. So in a lot of cases, you just have tax arbitrage right here that, hey, I know my rate will be at 25. Might make sense to pay at 22.
It might. In fact, nowadays, that 24% bracket extends a long way. So this is actually the next couple, 3 years, it's a great time to consider conversions. Now, of course, if you're in the highest tax bracket and you're going to be a much lower bracket in retirement, then it doesn't necessarily apply to you. But just take a look at the overall picture, whether this makes sense.
Yeah, think of it like this. start drawing this out for yourself. You have tax-deferred accounts. So this is what we've been talking about. 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, TSP, pre-tax, tax-deferred. When you pull the money out, right, that's when you're subject to tax. This is where you have the RMDs. This is where the heirs will pay tax, right? You have your taxable account. So this is your brokerage account. So these are growing tax deferred. You're not paying any tax on that growth until you take the dollars out. Same here, tax-free dollars will grow tax deferred in regards to the Roth IRA. You don't pay any tax on that growth until you pull the money out. Guess what? I don't pay tax on that either. The two major differences here is that this is after tax coming in. So if I want to take money from my retirement account and move it into my Roth, I pay tax. There's no way around the tax. You got a tax benefit, you're going to have to pay that tax benefit back. So the tax benefit is really not a benefit, it's a loan. Right? So ideally, it's like I'll be in a lower tax bracket in retirement, so I get a tax benefit today so I can get another potential lower tax when I pull the money out. That's true for most. But most people that watch this shows might be the opposite because you've done a really good job saving here. So it might make sense to start moving dollars up here. Anyone can do a Roth conversion at any age, at any income. You just want to know what that tax liability is.
Yeah, you do need to compute that, and a lot of people think, oh, I have to be working to do a Roth conversion. You can do a Roth conversion if you're working or retired, right? Joe, let's talk real quickly about beneficiaries. Probably the most important thing is the beneficiary statement is what controls where the assets go to, not your will or trust. Make sure you've got your beneficiary statements up to date. Second most important thing I would say is when a person inherits an IRA that's not their spouse, then the money has to be distributed within 10 years. That's a relatively new rule. No stretch IRA or limited stretch IRA these days. Roth as well. Roth has to be distributed in 10 years. But if the Roth account has been held for at least 5, it's all tax-free.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's go to our viewer questions.
I have multiple 401k accounts from several past employers. Is there any advantage to combining them while I am still working? This is Kurt from La Jolla. Whether you're working or not, it's probably a good idea, right? Just because it's more simple to have all assets in a single plan instead of multiple plans with different investments, and you're trying to manage all this. But I don't think generally it really matters when you do it.
No, it doesn't matter. Just look at the ease of managing is the only thing is why you would want to combine them. Because if you're rebalancing, let's say you have 60% of your portfolio in stocks, 40% in bonds. If everything is in one account, that rebalance is relatively easy. What I mean by that is, let's say the market makes a run up. Instead of 60% stocks, you have 70% stocks. Well, you want to have that balance of 60, so you have to sell 10% to get it back to 60. If you do that with multiple accounts, it's just kind of a pain. So getting things consolidated can help manage the overall account.
This is from Joan in Tacoma. If I die before I retire, what happens to my 401k? Well, it goes to the beneficiary. So that's why you want to make sure you look at your beneficiary statements periodically to make sure they're up to date. If you don't, a lot of times you'll have a beneficiary that's deceased, or maybe one you don't even like anymore, right? So make sure, because if you update your will and trust, it's not going to affect your beneficiary statements on your 401k, 403b, IRA, Roth, whatever.
Yeah, that's one of the most important estate planning documents that most of us have. It's the beneficiary form, the designated beneficiary form. If you have multiple beneficiaries, you want to give it to 20 different people, I would list 20 different people on that beneficiary form versus listing that in my trust or naming the trust as the beneficiary of my retirement account. You could get into a little bit of tax issues there given recent tax law changes. But it really depends on your overall situation, so I would contact your legal advisor or your financial planner. So what did we learn today, folks? We're looking at accessing your savings accounts, right? We looked at different account types, defined contribution versus defined benefits, IRAs versus 401k, post-retirement options. Do you keep it? Do you roll it? Do you spend it? Or do you convert it? And then passing it on. How does that all work? So hopefully you learned a lot. If you want more information, you know where to go. Go to yourmoneyorwealth.com. Click on that special offer this week. It's our favorite. It's our retirement readiness guide, yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on the special offer. That's it for us. For Big Al Clopine, I'm Joe Anderson. We'll see you next time.
Do you know right now how likely you are to run out of money in retirement? There's an easy way to find out. It's also free. Go to easyretirement.com.